we got a good one right here and right now. Capitol Police officer who killed Ashli Babbitt while defending the House chamber speaks out. We're gonna show. We'll show a little bit of it. This is the officer. Let's get to it.
Your name has been battered about
right here
on the internet, but you've never been.
Lieutenant Michael Byrd speaks out about January 6th shooting.
Tell us who you are.
My name is Michael Byrd. I'm a lieutenant for the United States Capitol Police.
For months, he has lived in hiding. He says over this moment, his decision to use deadly force against a rioter as she climbed through a barricaded door that leads to the House chamber. In the months since, he's been the target of threats. Can you give us the nature of some of those threats?
They talked about, killing me, cutting off my head, very vicious and cruel things.
Racist things?
There were some racist attacks as well. It's all disheartening because I know I was doing my job.
Given the nature of the threats that you describe, do you have any concern about showing your face and identifying yourself?
Of course I do. That is a very vital point, and it's something that is frightening.
Well, Lieutenant Byrd, he was doing his job.
The utmost courage on January 6th, and it's time for me to do that now.
Responsible that day for securing the House chambers, Byrd couldn't see what Americans were witnessing on their TVs, but he could hear it in the pleas from other officers. Were you afraid that day?
I was very afraid.
What are you hearing on your radio?
I'm hearing about the breaches of different barricaded areas, officers being overrun, officers being down.
Did you ever hear a call or a report of shots fired during any of this?
As a matter of fact, I did. There was reports of shots fired through the house main door onto the floor of the chamber.
Later, those reports would prove to be false. This video captures Byrd instructing members of Congress to don gas masks.
We had a disbursement of tear gas in the rotunda. Please be advised there are masks under your seats.
He says officers barricaded the door, what he considered the last line of defense.
I had been yelling and screaming as loud as I was, please stop, get back, stop. We had our weapons drawn.
Byrd, only his hand and gun visible, targeted a figure trying to climb through a window. He fired a single, fatal shot, hitting Ashli Babbitt. She was 35 years old, an Air Force veteran, Trump supporter, and QAnon follower. We see your arm out there for a considerable amount of time. Were you wavering?
I was taking a tactical stance. You're ultimately
Ashli Babbitt was a hardcore Trump supporter.
Will be complied with, and unfortunately, they were not.
When you fired, what could you see? Where were you aiming?
You're taught to aim for center mass. The subject was sideways, and I could not see her full motion of her hands or anything. So I guess her movement, caused the discharge to fall where it did.
I know the thumbs up for thumbs down ratio, 4.3K for thumbs up, 1.6K for thumbs down.
United States.
The thumbs down are the anti-vaxxer.
But an attorney for Ashli Babbitt's family disputes that. He did not respond to our request for a comment, but in a previous statement said Babbitt was not brandishing a weapon, not in close proximity to members of Congress, and was not an imminent threat of death or serious injury to anyone. Her family points out that she was not armed.
That's correct.
The fact that you weren't aware whether she was armed or not, did that alter the decision-making?
It did not.
What should we make
Lieutenant
of the
Byrd,
fact that there were
Babbitt
other
was
officers
posing
in
threat
other
to members of Congress,
potentially life-threatening situations who didn't use their service weapons that day?
I'm sure it was a terrifying situation. I can only control my reaction, my training, my level of expertise. That would be upon them to speak for themselves.
Former President Trump has talked about you and this incident.
Hashtag Michael Byrd.
He says she was murdered.
Hashtag Ashli Babbitt.
What does it feel like to hear that from a former president?
Well, it's disheartening. If he was in the room or anywhere, and I'm responsible for him,
Trump's criticism,
I was prepared to do the same thing for him and his family.
Would you have his back today if you were so assigned?
I sure would, because it's my job.
As I said, your name has been on the internet for some time in an unofficial way. A lot of rumors, a lot of accusations, one of which is that you had some sort of political motive. You were a political operative.
I do my job for Republican, for Democrat, for white, for black, red, blue, green.
A few years ago, you were investigated for leaving your service weapon in a bathroom. And that's been brought up by those who are questioning your competency. Do you want to respond to that?
Sure. It was a terrible mistake. I acknowledged it. I owned up to it. I accepted the responsibility. I was penalized for it. And I moved on.
Multiple investigations have now upheld Byrd's actions on January
Lieutenant Byrd
6th.
exonerated by
Capitol
multiple
Police in
investigations.
their press release after exonerating you said your actions potentially saved members and staff from serious injury and possible death. What was it like to hear those words, to see those words?
Those words meant a lot because that's exactly what I did on that day. That was my mission. That was what I prepared for. And it's rewarding and refreshing to hear that.
Lieutenant Byrd says he still loves his job and looks forward to
Yeah. Yes, yeah, with lesser hold. Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd describes why he's choosing to identify himself. Byrd shares his account of the January 6th riot as officers barricaded the door and he fired a single shot, killing Ashli Babbitt. You know, it's unfortunate that Ashli Babbitt died, but she was driving to the door and, you know, she was trying to breach the doorway and get to the Senate chamber. You know, we all remember, no, it was Trump that caused all this riot, you know, talking about, he was bitching moaning, saying, oh, but the election was stolen, it was rigged, saying stop the steal, and it was not. Biden won the election fair and square. And a lot of us Democrats, we were happy as hell when it happened. Yeah, and people think that Trump's going to get it back in the White House 24. Nope, Biden's going to get reelected. He will. And I remember when Trump said, you know, he said in a speech, he said, "You all very special people, but it's time for you to go home." Yeah, he was talking to the people that caused this riot, the anarchy, the chaos like that. Especially especially when Ashli Babbitt drove. It's unfortunate, but yeah, I'm glad his Capitol officer is exonerated. He did the right thing. Yeah, Ashli Babbitt, she was a big-time pro-Trump supporter. You know, and she, like, somebody said, I think, no, it was Tammy Lindland said she was a 16-year-old female. No, she was a 16-year veteran for the military and armed services. She was 35 and she was married from the state of California. With that said, I'm out of here. Mike Chuck, peace out. Much love and respect.